joining us today here at CSEA. Today is a sad day, a black day here in Nassau County as we continue to watch the dismantling of Nassau County by this Republican administration. Piece by piece, inch by inch, Nassau County is slipping further into the abyss as our services continue to go down in standard, lower and lower, and yet more people's lives have been ruined and destroyed and devastated today. And the people that think they're being helped, our residents, have been misled. And I can guarantee you that the taxpayers did not save one penny today. We destroyed a few hundred lives here in Nassau County, and we continued to depreciate the services that our residents are entitled to and should be receiving. I mean, as you saw yesterday in social services alone, which was already over-capacitated, we could not handle the caseloads as they were before the layoffs. People were being turned away and told to come back on Tuesday. I mean, if you're a mom, single mom, trying to get formula for your baby, which is what we do there, and you go home on Thursday and tell your kid, I'm going to come back on Tuesday for formula. If you have no heat in your home, that's what we do there. We help the elderly. We help the poor. They were turned around and said, come back on Tuesday. This is supposed to be one of the best or greatest counties in the country. It was a time when Nassau County was the crown jewel of this state, if not the entire country. Today, I call Nassau County the embarrassment of New York State. And the way that the residents are being misled, thinking that this is going to save them money, this is all being done on a political platform. I'm going to tell you the price it would have cost the residents here in Nassau County to keep these services in place and to keep all of the members that just got, the employees just got laid off, would have been 25 cents a week per household. That's the cost of the devastation that we're witnessing today as people's lives are being destroyed. And as our residents are sitting home thinking that they're living in one of the highest tax counties in the country and that therefore they have some of the best services in the country, it's a complete misleading statement. When our first snowstorm hits this year, our residents are going to see it's going to take them longer to get out of their driveway. They may not be able to get onto a county road that quick. When they dial that 911, I hope somebody answers it. We have probation officers that already were exceeding the caseloads by 2 or 3 times. We have felons out there, felons that are not being supervised. Our residents are not being told that. We have people that are wearing ankle bracelets that are supposed to be electronically monitored. They are not being electronically monitored. We do not have the staff, and we lost 30 more people in probation today. We have social welfare examiners that help the most vulnerable, the poorest, the weakest, those that need our services the most. And in fact, they were turned away and told, come back next week. This is a county in ruins. This is a county on a downward spiral. And unfortunately, because of a political agenda, the lowest paid workers in this county are the ones that are being attacked and vilified by the Republicans in this county. And shame on them. And our members, the employees of Nassau County, did absolutely nothing wrong, nothing at all, to deserve this treatment, this disrespect, that they have to go home to their families and tell them, Mom or Dad no longer has a job. I no longer can provide you with medical care because I lost my insurance because of a 25 cent a week pay raise. 25 cent a week tax increase. That's what we're looking for. That's what would have saved all the services and all the jobs today. And in fact, for the price of a cup of coffee a week, all of this devastation in Nassau County would go away. Because that's the tax increase that's needed to keep Nassau County from falling into the hole, and NYFA would have been okay with that. NYFA would have said, you don't need to close precincts, you don't need to lay off all these CSEA workers, just generate some revenue, because you're a county, you're a government. That's what good government does. Good government doesn't stay on the no tax increase platform for 20 years. You cannot survive in a county like Nassau County, as big as we are, with only 3 tax increases over a 20-year period. I think in the last 11 years, we've had 1 tax increase of 3.8%. We saw it under the Galati years, where he didn't raise taxes for 12 years, and the place almost went bankrupt. And that's what brought knifey here. I see no change in that direction under this administration. And I see that the weakest, most vulnerable workers of the county are the ones that are paying the price. And ultimately, it's the residents of Nassau County that have been misled time and time again, that are going to see their services drastically reduced, and in some cases, it's not just a matter of convenience. It's not that the road wasn't plowed or the traffic sign wasn't fixed on time. It's that their baby can't get the formula they need. The elderly in adult protective services that are getting beat up by someone and abused, we won't have enough caseworkers to go see them. And God forbid, the child or children that's being abused, we don't have enough children protective services to go out and maintain, like last time when we lost 3 children. And our workers were blamed for that when it was in fact the government's fault, because we have been complaining about increased caseloads over the years. You know what's going to happen the next time there's a tragedy somewhere here in Nassau County, and God forbid children are involved. They're not going to say it was the government's fault. They're going to say it was the caseworkers' fault. Caseworkers that were laid off today, that are already way behind and way overworked and have caseloads that are 2 or 3 times the recommended norm, have been laid off. This is the way to run a government. I think it's a shame, it's an embarrassment, I think it's heartless, and I think they're doing a terrible job. I'll take some questions.
Sure. Were you under the impression that the 100 people who took the voluntary layoff, that was going to save jobs this time, and not there was a published report that that's going to go into effect for the next layoff? Did you think it was for this layoff?
Yeah, I did think that the incentive was in effect for this layoff. I've been explained that it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. We're talking about people's lives here, but those same people that would have been saved this time might have found themselves on the layoff list in February. So it is my understanding that because of the incentive and the layoffs, we are now, there is no round 2 for CSEA. We have met our number. Unfortunately, we met it through some layoffs, obviously, and the incentive. But when round 2 comes, we're done. We've met our goal, unfortunately, not the way I want to meet it. And let me explain that to you. In order to avoid these layoffs, CSEA would have had to agree to a 20% permanent pay cut, and their salaries remain frozen for the next 4 years, which would have been a 5-year pay freeze. If anybody thinks that's realistic, for me to tell a $35,000 or $40,000 a year county worker that we're going to reduce their pay by $12,000, or in his case $8,000, and not get a pay raise for 5 years, come on, that's not realistic. That's basically extortion. There was no way that my membership would have voted that in, and they know that. So they basically said, you can avoid layoffs, just do the impossible. And in fact, we could not do the impossible. So we tried to do the next best thing, which was the incentive. And one way or the other, I'm sure we saved at least 150 jobs. I just don't know if the 150 jobs will be from June, will be from now, or will be in February. But altogether, I do believe the incentive will save a couple of 100 jobs, 150 jobs.
How many of your members lost their job today?
I don't have the exact figures, and I won't know it until Monday, but I think with probably about 150 actually hit the streets, which is very sad. And then the other 150 were the bump and retreats. So not everybody went home without a job, but a lot did. And that's the sad part. Even those that lost, you know, through the bump and retreat system, if you're bumped down from a caseworker 2 to a caseworker 1, that's considered a layoff. So they count, that counts towards the 300. However, that could be a $10,000 pay cut for somebody, and our caseworkers don't make a lot of money. They're really struggling right now to pay the bills. So either hitting the streets, which is the worst case scenario, obviously, or being bumped down, they're both devastating, and they're both really, really hurting the county worker.
So about 150